Deontology holds that an act is morally good if it's done from duty and morally bad if it's not done from duty. Of the three theories about morally good conduct that we're considering, duty may be the strongest because duty, by definition, cannot be immoral. Consequences can be morally bad, rules can be morally bad, but someone's duty is what someone ought to do. What someone ought always to do is the moral good or right thing. Another advantage is that deontology completes the story that consequentialism fails to complete. Motive makes a difference. To act from the will to do good is good, and to act from the will to do bad is bad. If I kill somebody in order to protect another person, that seems to be morally better than if I kill somebody merely because I don't like him. Thus, the consequent, killing somebody, might be identical in both scenarios, but motive clearly makes a difference. Deontology has some of the same advantages as regularism, since duty-based ethics is similar to rule-based ethics. For one thing, it's objective in principle, and for a second thing, it allows for advanced preparation. If we know in advance what our duty is, then we can set out to do it. Duties and rules are not the same thing, though. For example, it might be one's duty to disobey an immoral rule, but there could never be a rule that commanded somebody to disobey an immoral duty, because by definition, a duty can never be immoral. Here's a question for reflection. Are there any rules in your profession that you feel are contrary to your duty? As strong as deontology is, it has its disadvantages. For one thing, what is a duty? What's the difference between a duty and an alleged but false duty? One can imagine, for example, that Osama bin Laden thought he was doing his duty to God. Yet we would look at what he did as morally bad, and thus contrary to duty. On this point, see the optional article for this module by Dreisbach, Vicious Duty, the Ethics of Osama bin Laden. What about conflicts of duty? Suppose you are a CEO who has a duty to attend a shareholders meeting. At the same time, you have a duty to take your sick child to the emergency room. While one might argue that one duty is more important than the other, there clearly is a conflict of duty. Deontology isn't very helpful in that area. Plus, it's difficult to be moral if only acts done from duty are moral. How many more times in the course of the day do you act morally than that you are aware of what your duties are?